guy. If you don't, that is 6-month post-pubescent Bryce in high school, playing the role of Seymour Krelborn, a young, shy flower shop worker who falls helplessly in love with his fellow employee who's also abused and insecure, all the while trying to stop a human-eating plant from eating them and destroying their city and their flower shop. And so I use this to set the stage for not really this picture, but it's the picture 5 minutes before behind the curtain, where you don't see Bryce freaking out back here. Oh my gosh. I get it. We've been rehearsing for 3-4 months now, but we're about to go out on stage. I don't even know what my lines are. I'm literally praying to God, you got to help me right now, because if I go out and flop, this whole show is ruined. This whole show is ruined. I got to remember my lines. What are my cues? Oh my gosh, the whole cast, the whole crew is counting on me in order to go out to fulfill the role that I've been assigned. See, at this point, I laid down myself, and it was, no, I'm Seymour. I've got to go out and execute. See, now was not the time to deviate from the role that I'd been assigned. I couldn't, right? The story wouldn't have been told, so I had to do a couple things. I had to remember. See, I had to remember those long nights, rehearsals, 3, 4, 5 hours. I had to remember the line memorization over and over again. The same sentence, same paragraph, till it was so ingrained in my head, I woke up and I could literally say it verbatim. Those are the things I had to remember. And see, it got me thinking that this moment where I'm standing behind the curtain 3 minutes before it opens is exactly what I'm in right now in this season of 2K2. See, I walked in here expecting, knowing God has called me to this, to fulfill His commission. I expected to walk in here strengthened. I expected to walk in here confident. I expected to walk in here knowing my lines, knowing my cues. Maybe I did, but I walked in and I began to get fearless. I was fearful. I was lost my confidence. I looked around and compared myself. Man, she's got an amazing voice. Wow, that dude can really communicate. You don't have what it takes. You're inadequate. That's what's happened. So I had a behind the curtain moment. But I realized that God, in the midst of all of this, and even at 17 years old, was saying, stick to the script.
There you go. That's good.
Stick to the script. Now's not the time to deviate just because what's before you has shifted. Maybe the scene has deviated, but now is not the time for you to move away from that. You've got to stay the course. And so it taught me 2 things is that there's a beautiful thing that you do before you actually even start rehearsing, and you read the description of your character. Who's your character? What do they do? What's their attitude toward things? What's their motivation? What's their MO? Why do they do what they do? And before I even began to know my lines, I began to understand my character. What was the author trying to portray through my character? And so I realized the more that I stuck to this, the closer, and the more I realized the playwright's intent.
Wow.
So that's what it is. If I'm going to be the character I'm supposed to be, I've got to understand the playwright's intent. I've got to understand the author's heart. You see, because if I'm supposed to get to the end goal, but I don't understand his heart, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to be who he's assigned me to be. I've got to understand his heart in order to get there.
That's good, Bryce. That's really good.
And I think ultimately what God desires for each of us, and even in this season, and I pray it doesn't pass us by, man. Again, we're walking in harvest. Is this, and it says in Hebrews 12, and I love you just said this, Ty, is that we run the race set before us, right? And we look to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross. See, he's the founder. See, he assigned this role. He's the perfecter. I'm learning the script. I'm learning what he's saying. I'm learning what he's called me to. I can't deviate now. He's the perfecter, so if I stick to it, right? That's the moment.
That's great.
I'll be perfected. I've got to stay that course, though. See, and the most beautiful thing about acting is not me getting out on stage, knowing every single line, knowing every single cue, and being able to regurgitate. My grandma could do that. A robot can do that. A robot can go out on stage and know every line. But it's the fact of the matter is God's not so concerned with that. He's so concerned with you becoming that character in the process. When you can run out on stage and every bit of joy and peace that you were striving for was found when you've become because you stuck to the script. You have become the character that you were assigned. And so I urge you and I ask you, maybe the scene's changed. Maybe the environment's changed. Maybe you're looking out behind the curtain and now there's 500 people, but is now the time to deviate? No. He's saying stick to the script. He's saying stick to the script. It's great.
I think you knew it so well. This wasn't something like you were trying to like memorize or rehearse. Like you knew it so well. Like you were able to pick up on things that Pastor talked about and tie it straight in.
Right.
Things that that Ty had just said. You used the whiteboard. It was all like you didn't plan on that being here. Like you just used it because this was really you. And that's what was conveyed. It was really good.
I thought everything was really good, but the picture, the prop, the whiteboard, like you just created an environment where I think so many different learning styles can learn. If you're visual, you can see that. If you're kinesthetic, you know, holding the book and showing that, and showing the like, so it was brilliant.
Without telling us to read the Bible, you basically told us to read the Bible. Yeah.
Great metaphors, great metaphors. When you said like, before I knew my wife, I had to know my character. You had everyone at that point. That was, hey, great.
Constructive.
Help a man.
4 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Yeah.
That you went over for?
No, he was short 4.
Oh, we're sorry.
I felt like we were getting all your love over here. I'd love to see maybe just go across the room.
Yep. For sure.
And then you were going back and forth so fast, I was like, ah.
For sure.
And as an actor, you understand the importance of blocking.
Yep.
So there needed to be some moments physically where you stood still.
Yeah.
That would have cemented some of the things you were trying to say. What else?
I think just the beginning with the imagery of the picture and stuff, like I didn't catch every single word you said because I felt like you turned and looked at the screen and obviously you don't have a microphone, so it was kind of hard to hear a few of the words and I was like, wait, okay, that's what he said. So the visual tied it in for me, but I felt like I missed a few words.
Cool.
So,
It is true that you can kind of tie just about anything you want together. And so you made the choice to use a picture of you succeeding. That was Little Shop of Horrors, right?
Yeah.
Not
Not.
in-laws, outlaws, and other people. I was confused. So you're succeeding as Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors on the screen, but the whole point that you were making was about Bryce being behind the scenes. And so you can do that. You absolutely can do that, but you have to do that, obviously. You have to say, you know, I want to talk to you today about some of my behind the curtains moments. But in order to do that, I want to show you my success on stage. Take a look at this picture, right? So you have to kind of paint that picture for people. Tomorrow morning, when you hear my 7 at 7, there's going to be a moment where I say, I was in the living room holding Micah. That's where I started this. But I don't want to talk to you about that moment in the living room holding Micah. I need to bring you back 5 months before that, to the time that I was in that same living room holding Malachi. What am I doing? I'm having to paint the picture for you because otherwise you're going to get confused. You don't know my son's name.
Right.
Right? So you're going to think that I misspoke if I just jump right in and start talking about Malachi. You'd be like, wait a minute, is that his nickname? I thought we were talking about Mike. Who's Malachi? You're not going to know, so I have to paint that picture for you. So you can kind of use whatever you want, but if you're not going to make it direct and linear, then you have to take more time to explain it. Make sense? And so, because that didn't necessarily look like the success moment. It's hard for us to tell. As much as you tried to play it out like you were a lot younger there, you look the same. It's only been if I put a picture of me in high school, I wouldn't need to set context, but for you, so you gotta be more explicit with that. So just be careful when what you're saying doesn't line up with what you're showing or how you're showing it or whatever. You just have to be more careful about that and be more strategic. I feel like you said 3 points and then only directly gave us 1. It was I had to remember. There were 3 in there, but I found myself distracted trying to hunt for them or thinking that I missed them. Did you guys feel the same way? So solve that just don't put 3 points.
Yeah.
Don't tell us you're going to give us 3 points. Just kind of say, hey, one thing you have to do is remember, you know, and then build it out and don't give it the structure. But if you're going to give it the structure, you got to follow through. So you got to deliver on the structure you're going to give. And then the metaphors were beautiful, and I think we all got it. But it was more than you really needed for 5 minutes. I think you could have just taken the line, stick to the script, and built a whole 5-minute thing on that. You could have just taken the line of you've got to get to know the character before you memorize the lines, and you could have built the whole thing on that. You could have talked about the behind the curtain moment versus the in the spotlight moment. You could have built the whole thing around that. So it was all based on a play, so all the metaphors connected. You did a good job. It's not like you were talking about being in a play and playing basketball at the same time. You weren't trying to mash things together, but it was more than we could handle. It was like going to a buffet and being like, I don't know, should I get dessert first? I'm hard, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna forget it, I'm leaving. You know, that it felt a little bit like that. It was too much. And so, if you were gonna do it again or do it at staff volunteer rally or something, I would pick one concept out of all the ones that you were building out and see if you can't just milk the crap out of that concept and make people feel like, oh God, if I ever see a curtain again, I'm gonna have cold sweats, you know? Like, and break out in hives because you've done a good job of painting the concept of the curtain. Does that make sense? I think it'll make it stronger. Would be my assessment. Good? Before I give you the table, I'm gonna eat a few almonds.
Like what right now?
This harvest,